Hello, my name is Matt Dietz, and this is my accessibility evaluation of two items I use in my class. The first tool I chose is an overview tool that I use in my media and tech class. It introduces students to 3D design. It's always been more of a follow-along tool, but when considering using this tool in an online environment, I would need to consider a major overhaul. For instance, just starting at the very top and noticing the different headings that exist, they should be larger and would help call attention to the important overriding themes. Additionally, as I go down through and I'm starting to talk about models, I probably should include examples, images of 3D models, and how they may be used. These images then should have included in them alt text descriptors. I notice 1, 2, there's 3 steps that are numbered, which is helpful, but inside each one of the main steps, there's some lists that were not formatted evenly. That could cause confusion. And I even go into noting some videos right here that the students need to follow along with, as well as a software piece. I could hyperlink that, making it much easier for the student to access, especially in the online course environment. And the current descriptions would be helpful with what is presented, but it'd be helpful maybe to have even a thumbnail with the associated video and software. I also talk about toolbars in this area that students are supposed to access and play around with just to familiarize themselves. Probably some pictures of the toolbars that I'm specifically talking about, some images, again, would help students lead them in the right direction, have them feel confident that they're working on what they're to be working on. And for some students, some additional guidance would be helpful, possibly an example of dimensions. In this case, we're starting to talk about dimensions of their home that they're going to create, possibly an example of what that might look like, or include a square footage calculator for the student, just to give a reference of what an acceptable size may look like. So just again, some images in here to really help them out. As we move down, there is a little checklist that's included, similarly to what we use in class. It might be nice to have interactive checklists here so the students can keep track of their progress, and even most of us enjoy checking boxes off as we move along. The second tool that I chose is another reference material from YouTube. This video I enjoy. It discusses aperture, shutter speed, ISO, and light as they relate to photography as a digital photography unit. The video does a great job of discussing their relationship, and I provide this as a resource for students to reflect upon what we actually teach during the class. The presenter also shows some demonstrations that shed some light on their complex interactions. It's very helpful for students to be able to go back and review this video. The presenter uses a helpful visual aid to represent how they interact with one another, and that's shown right here. And as you adjust one, others need to compensate to properly expose your photo. The visual is animated in the video. It's used regularly and does a nice job of showing how adjusting one element impacts the others. I like it. I think it's great. To include this on an online course, or to even increase access to my face-to-face classroom, however, some additions need to be made to this video. For instance, closed captioning would be a nice addition for students who have difficulty hearing the presenter. However, I find even in my own household, my family, we prefer to have the closed captioning on, even though none of us have hearing problems. It's just another way to better understand what is happening. So again, just access to many would be helped. Additionally, arrows and highlights. I'm going to show you another image here where the presenter is making some adjustments, but it's not real clear what's happening on the screen. So again, some arrows, highlights would help the student to follow much of what he is sharing. This would include not only on the camera itself, but also in the photo area when he's making reference to what is occurring. The presenter also makes some reference to halving and doubling of stops, which we talk about in class, but it's a concept that some additional visual references would be needed to help the more visual students or those who maybe struggle with math. Again, a video I enjoy providing as a reference, but may not be as clear to some students as I would like it to be without some improvements.